Yo, what's poppin', everybody? Welcome back to the podcast, another episode of Caffeine and Green with your man, Connor Cardenas. And before we get into it today, I just want to give a huge shout out to the title sponsor of Caffeine and Green, which is 7 Seas Roasting Company, coming straight out of San Diego, California. My home roaster, and most of the time where you'll find me during the week. Now, what's so great about 7 Seas Roasting is that we're doing things a little bit different in specialty coffee. We're working with coffee farmers in villages in Laos and Vietnam, and we're bringing those coffees to life. But along with that, we're also showcasing other amazing coffees, Colombia's, Ethiopians, Guatemala's, Mexican coffees, which is coming down the pipe, so get ready, y'all. Now, full transparency, I am the head roaster at 7 Seas, as most of you know. But regardless, I think by now y'all know that I'm giving you straight fire with that coffee. So what I want you to do is head over to 7seasroasting.com, put in my code C&G at checkout, and you're going to get a deal, which is 3 bags of coffee for $30. I mean, that's a no-brainer if you really think about it, because 2 bags is $32 right there. So you're essentially getting 1 bag of coffee for free. It's a no-brainer, like I said. Now, right now, we have the El Jaguar, which is amazing. It's chocolate. It's nutty. It has a little bit of orange zest up front. We also have an array of new Lao coffees. The Katuat Village, we have the Phodom Kwan, and we also have the classic Setapung. Now, we also have some other things coming down the pipe, again, like I mentioned, so be ready, but that's what you have to choose for, and we have amazing, they're amazing coffees. I really hope you guys enjoy it, and again, use that code C&G at checkout. That's C&G, and you're going to get that deal 3 for $30. Now, unfortunately, the charity coffees, which is the Kaha Collective and the Spikes Roast, don't come in this deal. But you still have so many coffees to choose from, it's all G. So head over, guys, C&G at checkout to get that deal. My guest today is a Caffeine and Green alum. And of course, I'm talking about my man, Drew Jeglinski. That's right. He was on episode 8 or 9 of the launch of Caffeine and Green. And within that time, he has opened up his own business, and it's called Little Joy Del Mar. It's a coffee cart that's in front of Zell's restaurant in Del Mar, if you're familiar with the area. But regardless, he owns his own coffee cart now. So he's out there every day slanging espresso, slanging Americanos, cappuccinos, whatever you need, he's doing it, except for batch brew. Regardless, that's why I wanted to have him back on the show. He's hustling. He's motivating the people around him, and he's out there hustling and motivating himself. I love that. He is the definition of what it means to be on Caffeine and Green. So without further ado, my man, Drew Jeglinski, Little Joy Del Mar. This your time to shine, homies. Let's go. Caffeine and Green. It's your boy Connor. What's good? Good. Caffeine and Green.
Are we filming this?
Yeah, it's live right there. And we are live.
Hello.
Drew Jeglinski. Welcome back to Caffeine and Green, sir.
Thanks, man.
Yes, and you're not just going to be here today as Drew Jeglinski as you were last time you were on the podcast. When you were in the first 10 episodes of the launch of Caffeine and Green. Now you're going to I think we were talking about you're 67 or 68. I think
67 or 68.
One of the two. Yeah. Dude. But now, sir, you have opened your own business since I've seen you last.
Yes, I have.
Tell me about it. What's it called?
It's Little Joy. It's a coffee cart in Del Mar, California.
Now, the significance about this coffee cart or shop, which would you call it, a coffee cart?
I'd call it, it's kind of like a beautiful flower shop, kind of like espresso bar.
Interesting. Did you add flowers?
I have a cactus.
Nice. The significance about this spot is pretty unique because it actually used to be the Zoom bar.
Correct.
I guess it was it was the Zoom bar coffee cart.
Right.
But you took it over.
I sure did.
Tell me about this. How did this happen? Why did it happen? Steve, I'm assuming, presented the option to you, or the
Yeah, he did. It was kind of out of the blue, and it was a couple of days where literally it was a day before I was leaving on a vacation. So it was it all kind of sprung right up. So I was hoping to open a shop sooner or later. That was my goal of working at Zoom Bar and learning the ropes and everything. And then I've just been trying to find spaces, try to find like creative things to do that I can afford. And I almost gave up on it. It was just getting too expensive, to try to do something in North County.
Oh, you were already actively looking to open up a shop, like.
Well, yeah, I'd written like a business plan and sort of had like everything mapped out and what I could possibly do. I took some classes on like small business at the Small Business Development Center. Like I was trying to take some real steps to make it happen. Oh, thank you.
Of course.
I'm going to keep it light so I make sense.
Oh, you're going to keep... Okay, all right. I'm good on this. Go ahead.
But anyway, yeah, I just tried to take some like active steps so that things would I'd be ready to jump on an opportunity if it came up.
Okay.
So basically, it kind of came out of the blue with the cart. I think that, Steve just asked me out of the blue. I was totally surprised by it, and I wasn't really sure. I'd worked the cart before. I knew it was going to be a challenge. Mm-hmm. But I ended up, going on vacation and spending some time and thinking about it, and kind of was inspired by everything I was seeing around me. And we went to Portugal in April, so we were lucky enough to go for a couple weeks. So I think being on vacation, feeling like super optimistic and just seeing what people were doing in Lisbon and all the places that we'd gone, and even the small villages where we were seeing like great cafes or restaurants that were run by, 1, 2, or 3 people. So being there and seeing people working hard and being creative with what they have really kind of like inspired me to take the leap and try to work this cart.
That's tight.
Yeah.
Steve's the owner of Zoom Bar, for people who don't know. Did he catch wind that you were already trying to make moves? Was it just random, or did somebody tell him like, hey, Drew's been thinking about this? Or
somebody may have told him that, but I also, months before I'd met with Steve, he was kind enough to meet with me, and I asked him his opinion. I said, look, I'd like to open a shop someday, and hopefully in the next few years or so, or kind of getting ready. And he was kind enough to meet with me and just kind of give me his advice, tell me his story about how he started, Zoom Bar started as a cart as well. And just like gave me some really, a lot of it was financial, like just understanding what it was going to take and in terms of permitting, in terms of getting everything through the board. So, and in his advice to me at the time was, you should consider starting a coffee cart.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now, is that also, if you're in coffee, definitely understand the difference in significance of having a coffee cart, a mobile espresso machine on wheels that you can technically move out of the way, mm-hmm. as opposed to having something that's like in the ground, it's stable. It's different permitting. There's different laws. There's different.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Did you had to just hit the ground running on that?
Well, yeah, it was already operating, so it was nice that I could just kind of switch into it,
Nice.
and there was already like a great base of customers that already loved the coffee itself. So just taking that over was pretty smooth.
Did you do a transition, or was it one day it was Zoom Bar, the next day it was Little Joy?
Yeah, literally, it was June 1st. It flipped over, so I just kind of worked it a little bit more toward the end, and then the next day it switched over. I closed on Friday, ran and bought a bunch of milk, and then showed up on Saturday.
Dude, that's sick. Did you? Now, the greatest thing I think in terms of creating anything new or doing something new is that you actually you get to do all the fun stuff. It's like designing the logo, picking out colors, making signs, finding other people to bring your creative ideas to life. Did you, when you knew you were going to be taking it over, what was that like for you? Did you already know who you were going to use? Did you know the name already? Like, how did this all come to fruition?
Yeah, it was interesting because he asked me, and then I went on vacation, but I basically had 6 weeks to get it going.
Oh, 6 weeks. Oh, wow.
I think it was 6 weeks or so. So when it came to like the name, it was really good because for me as a person that enjoys sort of creative stuff like that, I really would have overthought the name if I had too much time. So literally having 6 weeks, it was just like, okay, here's a short list of names that I like, and running it through some friends and some colleagues, and then the design. Sarah helped me out with the design and everything really quickly. So
And Sarah is who?
Sarah Crow.
Sarah Crow.
Shout out.
Oh, fucking Sarah
also used
from
to work
Zoom
at
Bar.
Zoom Bar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she does really great graphics, and so it was like a small village came together and kind of pieced it all together with great friends and the great community I have. But it was really, I think, having 6 weeks, really, I didn't have time to overthink it. I didn't have time to have a focus group to see, if people like squares or circles better or anything like that. So it really was like, okay, we're going to do this. And now this is it. A couple of days later, I'd kind of freak out and be like, wow, okay, like that's my logo. That's going on everything from now on.
Yeah, you're tripping a little bit.
But which isn't necessarily true, but it was kind of a blessing to have only 6 weeks. And that really just forced me to get everything done. Every day I was just zipping out, getting a permit here, running out, registering the name, doing all the technical things that I was learning as I went.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's the only way to really do it is to figure it out. It's just by doing.
Yeah.
Now, Steve helped you out with that. He was kind of like letting you know what to.
Steve was great in a lot of technical support. In meeting with him in that initial meeting, we talked about permitting and what kind of permits were required from the county, from the city, to getting, all the tax ID numbers and everything from the state and the federal systems. I kind of had an idea going in, and then the rest of it is, you log on to a clunky government website and you're trying to get a permit and they ask you for a number you don't have, and you have to say, oh shit, I got to get that permit. So you Google that, and the next day you go figure out how to get that permit number so that you can complete the one you're working on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it was definitely a learning process, but in terms of everything, and thinking back on it, it's not that difficult. It was kind of nice to see that you can set up a business in 6 weeks. In terms of like getting things legal and making sure that that you have everything that you're going to need to really get going with numbers and your books and everything with the state. So it was pretty easy. Yeah, I was very pleased. Good job, San Diego.
That's so funny because I literally was just having a conversation today about I can't name the business, but a business around this surrounding area that's just having like the hardest time opening.
Yeah.
Getting a brick and mortar, I imagine, is definitely a lot more different.
Granted, and I took over an already operating place, so everything was already up to code and approved.
Okay,
so
okay, so if it's already up and running,
now you want to put in like a sink or a toilet or something. Now you're talking tens of thousands of dollars.
Oh,
yes.
dude.
So that's a totally different thing.
Oh my God!
But someday I'm going to build that toilet. Yeah.
Dude, now without jumping ahead too far, have you already thought about, a year? Because how long has it been that you've been in business?
About 3.5 months.
3.5 months.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So this might definitely seem ahead, but I was like, in a couple years, do you imagine that you'd want to like shift to a brick and mortar? Or are you just trying to be like a coffee cart for a couple years?
We'll really see like financially if I can do it. It's, it's a coffee cart, so I'm not like going to be a millionaire, so it's the nice part is I still am working there every day. So, employee costs and everything are extremely low.
Yeah.
I work, I do everything. So I'm not really paying anybody out, but it's like you get up early, you go to work, you do your work, you get a moment on the computer, you go home, you have homework to do, I'm like sawing wood and hand painting a sign,
Yeah.
So just trying to make it happen with what I have. So I think that, it won't be able to grow into something probably that'll allow me to like purchase a house or something in North County, but it's a good starter business. I really don't know where it's going to go from here. I've got other ideas. I think my dream would be to have a cafe, like a space, like a community space. So right now it's great. I can have people around the cart and everybody's hanging out. There's some beautiful benches. It's under a very beautiful tree. It's a very peaceful place to like have a conversation with somebody and just sip on a coffee. But I would like to extend that a little further, get a few more tables and sort of be able to provide a little bit more of a bigger community. And right now it's great. It's as a cart, it's you go up there in the morning and you get your coffee and you don't have to go inside. You don't have to go into a building. It's kind of like this cool, kind of like a more natural spot,
Yeah, I mean, with that also being said, though, I imagine dealing with the elements.
Totally.
Whew. Boy, that's tough.
Yeah, definitely. And working outside and working with coffee, trying to, pulling
Dialing it in.
espresso shots and everything outside definitely has its challenges, when from humidity, we're right by the ocean. So it's, there's fog in the mornings, there's a greater humidity, the temperature change between, 6 a.m. and 10 a.m., like dealing with all of that stuff. But I feel like it's not frustrating. I try to stay focused and keep on my bean and make sure that all the shots are going out are amazing.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And are you what coffee are you using?
Zumbar.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So I'm pulling hummingbird shots. So
Oh, that's what's up.
it's classic.
Tasty.
It's the classic.
Tasty, very tasty.
Chocolate gold.
Dude, I went to Zumbar. I think I was saying this to you before the podcast. I went on Monday. I just woke up Monday morning. I was up at probably like 5:30 on my day off, just still up that early.
That's productive.
Dude, I don't even know. I think I just worked too much. And so my body's like, nope.
Yeah, right.
Get up. But I was up and then I was like, oh yeah, Zumbar opens at 6. Dude, so I was up at Zumbar in Serrano Valley probably like 6:20, 6:30.
Yeah.
And Krista's like standing there behind the counter and she's like, what are you doing here? I was like, I just woke up and I was like, I want Zumbar.
Yeah.
I went there, got a cap, and definitely just a batch brew of the hummingbird.
Yeah.
Dude, before I even knew it, it was gone. It's still so good.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
It really is. To me, it's the comfort food, of coffee. It's always good.
Comfort food of coffee.
Yeah.
Zumbar's hummingbird or just Zumbar in general?
The hummingbird in particular for
okay.
me. I think it's a beautiful comfort food. It's kind of classic. It's good with, it's good with lattes. It's good with milk. It has like a richness that can cut through anything. So you always taste coffee no matter what drink you're getting.
Wow, I've never actually thought about it that way.
Yeah.
Damn, that's pretty
rich.
interesting. It's rich. Dude, no, I honestly, for me, the El Mundo was the one. I mean, the hummingbird is amazing. The El Mundo was, bro, I didn't care where you made that. They even pulled it on an espresso once.
Oh, yeah.
I think they pulled it.
We used to pull it at the
lab.
cart.
Yeah. In the cart. Yeah.
It was amazing.
Dude.
And people loved it.
Dude, I know. I was like, why is he not running this at Serrano Valley? And it's like, no, hummingbird. It's like, damn it. Not even like a single origin. I mean, it wouldn't have been a single origin, but just like a second option.
Yeah. Yeah.
Son, it was so good. I mean, I should have based. I remember when I was first doing a head roasting position, I needed to make like a blend, and I added like a third element, but I just took those two and then put them together and added a third element to make it, essentially my own or whatever. But it was, I would just make the El Mundo on my own. I would roast it and just make it my own version of it, just
nice.
like for my own personal consumption. And it was never the same. It was never the same. It's like, dude, I would never want to like steal a recipe, but that recipe is just so fucking good.
Yeah.
I don't understand. And then
Dark
the bell ringer
secrets.
is amazing too.
Yeah, really. I had some this weekend. I went, I took the weekend off and we were able to have something different, which was good. And so we went for bell ringer and it was so nice.
Dude, you on your days off, you went to Zumbar?
Yeah. No, I finally had a day off, so we ended up going to a wedding. I had to take a day off for a wedding.
Okay.
So we traveled with the bell ringer, and
Nice.
it performed very nicely.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, damn. Dude, I swear, like on my days off, when I leave the coffee shop, the last thing I wanted, like, no, I'm not going over there.
Yeah, right. The only thing I just want to make coffee at home. That's one thing.
Okay.
The only cafe I've gone to since then is Steady State, which I still think Elliot is doing really great stuff over there.
Yeah, that's a really good roaster. He's really good.
And that way I can kind of cruise and look at the beach and stuff, and
Yep.
it's a nice ride.
Yeah, man. I mean, have you been to Steel Mill yet?
Yeah, those guys are rocking it up there. Yeah.
Yep. Shay, and then shout out all those boys, Lil C, and Riley. Sorry.
Joel.
Yep. Oh, dude, all the homies over there. Damn. And then there's Brandon, I think is his name. The newer dude. He might not be new now, but either way,
Nice shop.
super sick. And then, dude, I mean, you should come down here, bro.
Totally.
I was just on Sunday and Monday. I Sunday and Monday are my day off. Sunday I went to Heartwork and then Por Vida.
Nice.
And then Monday, where did I go? I went to Obi Coffee Roasters.
Nice.
And then also,
yeah, there's all kind of great shops up here.
Yeah, dude, there's so many
now
here.
You have all these options.
Coffee and Tea Collectors like right down the street over here.
Yeah, I love them.
Dude, super good coffee all around here.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Nice.
Yeah, man. I think it's pretty interesting. I've actually been thinking about this a lot lately. The coffee industry in San Diego in particular is becoming a lot like the beer.
Yeah, sort of.
Kind
right?
of the beer industry, I guess, in the sense where you're starting to see a lot of the same people in and out, but then also it's getting bigger and bigger every time. And there's more locations being opened up all over the place. Dude, James just opened up a new location right over here on 30th, I think.
Oh, wow.
I know Por Vida's opening up another one. Dude, there's another one called Wholesome over here.
Oh yeah, I think.
Dude,
I
there's
went to
so
Wholesome
many.
once. Yeah, it's true.
It's crazy,
right? Which is great. That means that there's that much of a demand, I guess, for finer coffee. You know, people just don't want to drink junk.
Yeah.
They want something that they feel good when they consume it too. You know, coffee is a drug, right? Or the caffeine in it, but if I have bad coffee, I feel bad. If I have good coffee, I feel good. You know, it's just that simple. It's nature's way.
Dude,
you know?
If you have a bad cup of coffee, I used to just drink it, but now I honestly think I would just be like, nah.
Oh, yeah, I'll crash out. Yeah.
Like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah. So funny. Yeah, there's lots of shops. I think it's a grander, like, still like a rise in a re-interest in sort of tasting things. You know, it's where the food culture has come to now, where, you know, the hip spots are doing tasting menus, right? Because people want they want all of these experiences, sensory experiences, but mostly like in tasting. So now it's like more people than ever are getting into wine, you know, at a younger age, because that's also in the, you know, something that's to be intellectually consumed, right?
Or stimulating.
Right.
Stimulating.
You're consuming something, but you're thinking about it. And
exactly.
You kind of want to figure it out a little bit.
Well, you're tasting it and you're smelling it at the same time. I mean,
totally.
Just like when they tell you when you're cupping coffee, it's like I was just at Coffee Fest and they were talking about this. I was like, oh, dude, I know this. Yes. It was, they were talking about how when you're actually going to taste the coffee, you're smelling it. The olfactory bulb is like triggering all these memories or just smells that you're already identified, and you're like, they're triggering these responses, and then it basically translates, and that's what you're tasting. Like, you're smelling and you're tasting, and it's all working one in one, like all hand in hand,
just like wine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Even though I do find now, because I'm constantly tasting coffee all the time, I find now when I drink or wine, it's easier to like pinpoint it, because I feel like in wine, it's more pronounced. It's it's less complex in what flavors you're going to taste, and more pronounced in the sense of it's simpler ingredients that are very distinct, and they work in unison in a sense. For instance, last Friday I had a bottle of, I want to say it was like a Pinot Noir or Malbec. I don't remember which one, but we had the whole bottle. And I could smell it. I could smell the orange zest. I could smell like the peel. I could taste like a little bit of cherry. I could, and it's very like on point. These are the flavor notes that I'm getting. Like, it's undeniable. Whether you could smell it or you could taste it, or it's just like, it's palpable. It's amazing. But also, I mean, we have in coffee, there's more flavor, there's more stuff on our flavor lexicon than there is on a flavor wheel, if you will.
Yeah, I think they're probably all equally complicated, right? In that there's got to be a spectrum of what we can experience or taste or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think going back to it, it's like, it's really fun to see that people are interested in this stuff, and moving away from like a consumer culture where maybe before this it was, you know, I want big portions, and the greater I eat, the better it is, you know. And in that sense, I think our culture is shifting into Now it's more interesting if you want to go out to eat. You want to experience something. You want to get your money's worth. And I think that everybody's tasting things, whether it's food or coffee or wine or distilled drinks that people are crafting out now and everything. It's like just where we are culturally. So that's really cool that more and more people want to have a coffee that sort of makes them think about what it is beside this brown tasting thing that I need to get a buzz from to go to work. More people are into the idea of having a decent coffee.
Well, also, I think to add on to that, I feel like it would definitely be, how do I put this? People who are definitely into coffee and really taking it farther and opening the knowledge. And when you look at that cup, you look at it and you look at the drink inside of it and you smell it and you taste it. And yes, you're looking for that flavor, but then it's like, where did this even come from?
Yeah.
And then you could ask the barista or whoever's at the cafe that you're at and say, is this a single origin? Is this a blend? Oh yeah, it's a blend of a Latin and African, or it's a single origin from Rwanda. And what? Like from Rwanda.
Yeah, right.
From Rwanda. And
or Burundi or
something. And then you start to, well, damn, they grow coffee there. And then, you could, if you're working in coffee or if you don't even know anything about it, maybe that triggers your interest and you go and research it. And you learn that there's so much more to coffee.
Yeah, totally.
Just in general.
Yeah, right.
I mean, it's something that's growing from the earth. How is this even possible that we're able to just consume it and it pumps us? I mean, pumps everybody up, or everything that eats it.
Right.
Or drinks it.
Right.
And we just happen to fine tune it. And then when you fine tune these things and you realize that they have all these certain flavors and nuances, and the terroir reflects in that bean.
Mm-hmm.
And if you really think about it, it's this little bean has absorbed all of that, and then it grows out. We roast it, and we can manipulate how to roast it and highlight these flavors.
Right, maximize.
Dude.
Yeah.
That's my brain just exploding right there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. Everything it can be interesting about it. Some of the best books I've read before were history books about coffee, and just the commodities trade and everything that went into it, hundreds of years ago even. But it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to see too, like even with wine, going back to wine and everything, learning about different types of soil and coffee and different elevations and things as well. Mm-hmm. But it's even soil types and what kind of profile does this typical soil and climate produce, and then you can start to see how that's similar in different regions even. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's really fun that people want to get excited about coffee and where all of these shops can be opening and all of them can be successful,
Yeah.
Totally.
It's been interesting that people are like up in the game too.
Yeah. Well, they have to now, right?
Well,
There's so many shops.
Well, yeah, dude. I mean,
get your playlists ready.
Dude, for real. And that's the other thing that's great about it. I mean, I've talked about this before, especially with other coffee people, is, dude, the best part about cafes, in my opinion, has going to the ones that play really, really good music that you've never heard, or really good music that you just, oh, hell yeah. Like, I fuck with this track, or something like that. It's like, oh, they know this song.
Yeah, right.
Or you walk in and you're like, what?
Right.
This is not a track that everybody knows. And it's like, who put this on?
Yeah, right. I think that's important too. Like kind of that going back to like building that sense of community in a cafe. Mm-hmm. So maybe the coffee shops are all in the vicinity around here. They're all pulling pretty damn good shots, right? Or making really great coffees and pour overs or whatever they're making. And but they are playing cool music, or they just have like a relaxed vibe inside them where you always feel comfortable and welcome. But that's that cool sense of like community where if somebody puts on a song, if a barista puts on a song that somebody is digging it in the corner or whatever, that they strike a conversation with the person next to them that's maybe also grooving on that tune, or ask the barista, and that at least then that starts a conversation, and that's the kind of sense of community that I love about coffee shops. I always have. It's kind of like it's almost like a pub in a sense where people go to socialize, but in a totally different sense of the beverage choice, I suppose. But it's similar in a sense where even at the cart, man, I love, and even at Zumbar, I always love seeing customers interact together, or two regulars that finally met and now they're friends. You know, that's a really cool thing about having a cafe that has a sense of community to it. You know, and that can ebb and flow, of course, in a space, but that's what I think is really cool. You know, so a cool cafe's got the tunes and they've got the vibe, but they also have this sense where people are comfortable in there to kind of relax, get work done, but also start to meet more people, you know, whether and nerd out on coffee or talk about other things, you know, and just at least start to have a conversation. It's kind of exciting. You know, it's a positive place for people to meet during the daytime, or you know, in cafes at night as well. But
it's really interesting because I've actually talked about that before as well with some of my colleagues at 7Cs, is that we're a bar. We are a bar for the morning time.
Yeah.
People come in.
Espresso bar.
Yeah. Well, espresso bar, but just
Coffee
a bar
bar.
in general.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a
Right.
coffee bar.
Right.
That's what it is. You come in the morning and it's just like you would do at night, but this time everybody's like kind of chilling. Maybe some people are in their PJs and it's just like sitting there half awake. You get your cup of coffee and then you can start talking. Or then there's the other side of that, what you were also saying, is that people are just striking up conversations. Dude, it always super surprises me. Not that I wouldn't strike up a conversation, but it's always interesting. You know, regulars that finally meet, or just like
Right.
a regular who talks to a new person. Dude, I've seen it time and time again, probably a couple times a day. People just sitting there doing their thing, and then they'll look over and they'll just be like, oh, blah, 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 blah. And they start talking, and all of a sudden you just see two people just chopping it up.
Yeah,
like,
right.
Dude, it's
right.
sick.
Right, and it provides an opportunity where that's kind of harder to do now. You know,
You think so?
People aren't doing it as much.
Dude.
Talking to strangers and just kind of knowing who's in their neighborhood. Even I think
Yeah.
it goes neighborhood by neighborhood, but you know, in general, I think as a grand, maybe the culture of the United States right now or something, you know, where we're not really trusting each other as much. So at least these places kind of provide a commonality for people. You know,
It's interesting you say that, because I almost feel, now that I've been kind of traveling around the States a little bit more, going to places that I never thought I'd go, like Nashville. Nashville was interesting. And then also going to Lynchburg in Tennessee, and then going to, you know, the east side of Nashville, and going to like different parts of the city and seeing Jake Taylor Smith, there, and like chopping it up with him, and just kind of learning about the area. And also at the same time being, you know, the way the state of the country, just to tie it into how you were saying, is that, bro, it's like it's kind of a California thing where people don't really talk to each other, but also, you know, it could be even like a Southern California thing compared to like Northern California, because Northern California, sometimes people talk to you, some people don't, like, but for the most part, you're chopping it up. But you go over to Hawaii, people will say hello to you all the time. You fucking go into Tennessee. Honestly, it doesn't really matter about like the whole, like, they're definitely got their red state stuff going on.
Yeah.
Which I have no problem with. I'm like, dude, I'm just chilling. I'm just being me right now. But, you know, put all that aside, everybody's super friendly over there. Everybody's they'll say hello to you. How y'all doing today? What's good? Kind of stuff like that. And it's non-judgmental. So it's really weird, because if you go start traveling around the States and you just are being, you know, neutral, essentially, just coming in with a good attitude, a smile, and what's good, y'all? How you doing? What's good? Yeah, my name's, you know, Kano.
Yeah.
What's your name? Drew. Oh, it's Drew. Nice to meet you. Where are you from? Oh, I'm from Cali. Like, oh, you're from here. Cool. Like, hell yeah. You got any good spots or something like that? You know, I feel like at the core, if everybody was just presented to be like that up front, what does everything else matter? It's just like, yo, this interaction that we're having right here, we're good. Yeah, we're chilling.
Yeah, right.
You know?
Yeah, right.
I don't know.
I think people would just find that they have a lot more in common than they thought they did with other people, you know?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't even need to be this whole polar opposite side to side, you know? I get people definitely feel a type of way about certain subjects or topics, or, you know, you name it.
Yeah.
People feel that way about it. And for me, I'm no different. I'd definitely be like, yo, Wu-Tang sucks. I'm like, what? Wu-Tang is amazing. You know, like I would, you know, I'd fight for that. Or, you know, let's talk about how to roast a katui or, something.
Yeah.
I feel the type of way. Or ask me about roasters. Oh, I will tell you about roasters, how my thoughts are. But put all that aside. I mean, I think it doesn't have to be like that. It doesn't. We can, like, overall, I feel like if you live in, you're already winning. You're breathing, bro. That right there, you're not in the ground.
That's a good start. Yeah. Yeah. You can start it off that way. I think right now it's tough because politics have become so,
It's like a TV show.
yeah. And it's so like, in our face, right now, where we even look at other people and we're like, oh, that's a Republican or that's a Democrat,
Do you? I don't do that. Do you do that?
I think a lot of people do that. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. You're like, did you vote for Trump, asshole? You're saying it under your breath or whatever. But or whoever you want to vote for. No bias here.
Yeah.
Right?
No worries.
Yeah.
No worries.
That's right. I'm voting. And I think that, well, going back to like a cafe, right? Everybody's kind of we got to find that commonality, I think, between people. Like you went to, somewhere in the South, which is definitely a red state country, down there. So it's almost like in places like that, even you coming in as a Californian, you probably felt almost like an outsider at first in your own country. Obviously, states are totally different and everything, but
they're different worlds.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it's more like I think a lot of people feel right now the politics is in our face so much that I think that we all kind of apply it to things that we're seeing on a daily basis. It's like, oh, this is prices up, so it must be trade war and all this stuff. Instead of and so I think people are kind of stuck in this this narrative that politics is the biggest thing. You know what I mean? Your politics are the biggest thing about you, and I don't necessarily think that's true about anybody.
Yeah, nah. Yeah. I definitely would agree with that. I don't think
it's all
politics
about coffee and barbecue, and
Dude.
you can talk to somebody for the rest of your life.
Bro, I couldn't agree more with that. I mean, to be honest, I got lost in like the politic things for like a hot second. And then, I mean, I'm super hot second. I'm talking like I realized real quick, like this is a no for me. And I just stopped.
Yeah.
I couldn't, like, I'm not going to let this get me. I'm not going to get involved with this. And I don't know, bro. I look at it now and I stay so far away from that shit that
it's junk. It's junk TV.
Dude, it honestly, it blows my mind that it's become so glamorized in a sense. It really kind of blows me away. And especially with coffee people. Coffee people feel a type of way. It's weird, though, because they won't say, like, directly. You go to Coffee Fest, and some people were like, well, I'm not going to say this, or I'm not going to say that, but you know about this, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, oh, okay. And, and again, for me, I don't go either way, really. I mean, I vote. I definitely take pride in my country, and I think voting is definitely a right, and it's a privilege. Mm-hmm. And I love America, straight up.
Hell yeah. Here we are, man.
But at the end of the day, Republican, Democrat, whichever, like I fuck with both people. Like if we're cool, we're cool. I do feel, not like, oh my God, I'm gonna fight to the death for this, but like it's like I just don't even care. Like I just don't. I think about it and I see people who do,
which is good.
Yeah.
And I think people don't need to care as much right now so that they can focus more on their, instead of spending mental energy on all of like the bullshit of like the media and the politics about everything, more so they can just turn away and start to think about the things they want to think about, creative things, what they want to do with their lives, what they want to do with their projects, what they want to do with their art.
Bro, if you have all this time to be keeping up with so much politics, what else what could you replace that time with and do something proactive or driven or something? I feel like to be surrounded by such, it seems like anger and angst and stress. It's like the trade war, the trade deficit, bro. We have nothing to do with that in our day to day. Me and you specifically, nope. Doesn't have anything to do with it. All we're doing is reading articles, getting upset. Not having that, bro. Are we gonna be running for office? Are we doing maybe one day? But it's like if you're just are you going to go really, mail, like write your congressman or whatever? It's like, no, then it's like, fuck, whatever. Just let it go. Let's focus on something that we can do to keep pushing ourselves forward.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think some people need to be in it and be part of it. And some people need to take a break from it when it's too consuming. Cause on the flip side of the coin too, I really think that, when times are tough like this, for whatever side you're on, like there could be some really great art that comes out of this and really great music. I wish there were more, there was a more of a movement in terms of like protest movement in music right now.
Dude, YG did Fuck Donald Trump. That's the song it was called FDT.
Yeah.
With Nipsey Hussle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's it. I don't know that song, but
it's a really good song. Not because it's like Fuck Donald Trump, but it's just like, but because like
right.
It's protest music.
Right. And
yes.
I honestly think there could be more of it now. If people are going to be thinking about all this shit so much, then at least we can create things with it that make people think differently, or at least question things. It's almost like the Vietnam War again.
Well, it's kind of interesting you say that, because that was the whole thing why the war, from what my parents have told me, is that people could finally see it and they stopped. They didn't want it.
Yeah, television was a huge part of that.
Big part, right?
Right.
And it was color, I'm assuming at that time.
Right, and it was daily news too.
Yeah.
Right.
But now with our phones, that's the new age of that shit, because they don't obviously show it on TV anymore, but you can go on your Instagram and look up a hashtag, and all of a sudden you're seeing stuff that people aren't posting, but it'll be up there before it gets flagged. And you're seeing real life stuff happen. Dude, when Nipsey Hussle got shot, the first thing I did was went to Reddit and Twitter, and I just started going through, boom, boom, boom. And there's people like posting live from there, and you could already tell. Like,
wow,
I was sitting there and I was like, dude, it's live. It's like, this fool's dead. You could see the way his body's moving. He's dead.
Crazy.
And I was just sitting there with Leslie, and I was like, dude, I got up. I was like, dude, he's dead. Fuck. And I was just like bawling, like playing his music and shit. But my point is that it was that fast. I knew which websites to go to, which links to follow, boom, boom, boom. And you're seeing people live showing stuff like that. So it's like
citizen journalism and all that. And
dude, yeah.
Yeah. But that's crazy. That's emotional to see that too.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, you
opened that door and had to see that, that's crazy.
Dude, I saw the craziest video on Instagram the other day. My homeboy showed me, he's like, dude, you want to see this? And I was like, yeah. Because he was like sitting basically where you were, and he was just like, oh, like, what the fuck? I was like, bro, you got to show me. So he shows me, and it's this guy, and he's fighting with a female cop, and they're going at it hard. Like, they're going tough. And the dude gets on top of her, and she's on the ground, and she's like, and he's trying to get her gun, gets her gun, pulls it out, and then like tries to blast her, and the safety's on. And so she gets up, starts running, and then he like figures out how to take the safety off, and he's like, the cop runs out of the screen, and then the dude's like shooting.
Crazy.
And he shoots off 2 or 3 shots, and you don't even see if they hit the cop or not. But all of a sudden, he like just keeps blasting, and then he like drops the gun, and you see these 2 cop cars coming out, and he drops it like this, and this cop gets out and pop, 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 and you just see this dude just drop. He just like took 3 shots and probably was dead.
Crazy.
And that's real life.
That's entertainment.
Dude, that's not even entertainment. That's just fucking real hood shit right there. That was crazy. I was like, bro, why are you looking at this?
Yeah, right.
But my point is that almost everything is accessible now through just your phone. It actually, matter of fact, that video, it had it was like a Snapchat video, and it was like, what the fuck did I just wake up to? And it's this going on like right outside of the door.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's fucking heavy, bro.
That's real heavy.
Super heavy.
That's hard. I would have nightmares if I saw that.
Dude, that same homie has shown me since then some just crazy videos. Like, that fool's always watching gangster shit. It's gnarly.
I got enough of that with Faces of Death. Did you watch that when you were a kid? Did you ever see that video that came out in like the 80s or 90s?
I've heard about it.
Oh, man.
I've never watched it. Yeah, what is it about?
I got my fill then. It was just like a stupid VHS cassette that became popular enough to be at a video rental store. But it showed all kind of crazy death scenes and stuff, and it was freaky. We watched it as like kids in middle school,
Dude, the first girlfriend I ever had, she used to watch some of the weirdest shit. And I was like 16. She was like 15, I think. And I walked into her room one day. I was like, yo, what you watching? She's like, dude, I just got this link, and it's like these terrorists cutting off like a dude's head. I was like, are you? No, it's not. Like, you're not really watching that. And then sure enough, she watched it, and I was just like, and that was the first time I ever saw somebody's head get cut off. It was gnarly. I was like, why are you watching this? Like, what the same reaction that I had with the other homie. I was like, why are you watching this?
Yeah. Shock value, you know?
But I'm like, is this real? And like, yeah, it's real. It's like, the fuck, dude?
Crazy.
Dude, that's real life shit. We're so blessed here. Like, we don't have to really worry about too much.
Yeah, yeah.
But
we all worry.
Dude. Oh, yeah. You never know it's going to pop off.
Yeah.
Dude. Oh, my God. Anyways, let's get back to coffee.
Yeah, so anyway.
That took like a super gnarly tangent. I went from politics to cutting people's heads off.
That's where politics are at right now.
Dude. What if, not to like talk about politics, but what if it would be like, have you seen, I don't know if it's been recently, but in like parliament or, you know, whatever other government factors there are, agencies there are where they meet, Congress, stuff like type of thing. What if people just started like duking it out instead?
I think they do.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. I've seen some of them.
Definitely footage of other countries where people start fighting.
Dude, they just go up and just, son.
Yeah.
Real life.
Yeah, right? They're either like full of fire and passion or...
in suits. Just,
yeah.
What?
Right.
This policy will go through, son. Just like, it's going to go through your ass. Dude.
Sometimes I wish there's more of that in American politics, but, you know... yeah, so funny. Yeah, things happen, right?
Dude, but what if instead of us having world wars and shit, we just did like a UFC, but for all world leaders, and then all world leaders just became like jacked, fucking roided up dudes,
right,
just like, son, and that
Could
would
be part of the Olympics or something.
Dude,
yeah.
I mean, it's a UFC. Winner takes the country, takes the world.
Now, is it pay-per-view or is this like worldwide distribution?
Oh, this
free?
is worldwide. This is worldwide
free.
pay-per-view.
All right.
Or no, maybe not. Well, it probably would be pay-per-view, honestly. And then everybody would just like go to somebody's house. Like all the bars would have it, so
Right.
it wouldn't even really be a
Right.
PPV. It would definitely be like, yo, come and watch it because the world's about to get fucking turned. And everybody it would be like simultaneously cast in every country at the same time.
Yeah, yeah.
And we would watch real time.
Yeah.
Full's just going tough.
See, I think it could go to the next level, like American Gladiator style, you know, where like it's world leaders shooting each other with tennis balls and do, and guys having to climb ropes and stuff.
That's like a Spartan race or something. I'm not hating on
an
Spartan
array
race.
of skills, you know.
Nah, I want to see like a Brock Lesnar type esque like maybe that would be our leader. Would be Brock Lesnar, not really our leader, but he would be our leader who would go in there all roided up, just ready to fucking wrestle some dudes and beat them to a pulp. And then you got somebody like Putin or something, just because I can't think of anything else than a Russian, but like get Putin, but Putin just comes in, he's looking like Stipe Miocic or something, just heavyweight contender, got a good boxer, you know, but just like, and then they just duke it out, and that becomes the world champ, the real world champ, and then every country has to subdue to that country for like a year, or maybe like a week. Be like, yeah, son, and then you have to like repeat battle.
People would tune in. Yeah.
Dude, it'd be bloody battles.
Yeah.
It'd be crazy.
Be like World Cup. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. See, now we're
People
talking.
getting up at like 5 a.m. to watch it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm down. Or we can even have like teams. Then that we could like, just in case the president loses, it would be, you know, the VP comes in, you know, slap hands, tag me in, and then if I come into the Stone Cold Steve Austin stunner,
Right.
son, fuck you, just like kick him in the stomach, flip him off, drink some beers, fuck America, boom.
Yeah, then you have like allies coming out, jumping in. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
dude, see, if they put us in charge,
Now I'm in if you got like that wrestling drama.
Dude,
you know?
yeah. Just, I mean, it's already kind of there.
Grandstanding.
Dude, if you really think
and
about it, that's
Doritos.
already there. That's already there. Because, like, we got Trump right now on
there's
Twitter.
a lot of grandstanding.
It's
yeah.
Twitter. So
Yeah,
now it
right.
becomes like The Rock did when he used to talk. Well, the Brahma Bull talks about like this. I don't like Steve Austin. If you smell, you know what I'm saying? Like, but then it's our president. He's like,
Right.
Hello, people. This is your president, the greatest of all time. And I'm going to go out there. I'm going to kick Putin's ass from here to there.
Say half the country's already voting for that. Yeah. that fucking energy, you know? Right. The bravado of a fine wrestling actor.
Dude, I would straight up only have like a mullet. I would come out, but with like super sick, but with like the rock sunglasses and just be like, if you love America, let me get a fuck yeah. It's like, fuck yeah. Dude, I'm down.
Yeah, you get a crowd going, man. Yeah.
Fuck.
That's what you do, right?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So what do you imagine if you were to, shifting gears here, have you already thought about the brick and mortar, like what the art would be or what the kind of the layout or the lookout you'd want?
No. Again, I would, you know, I have I'll let my imagination grow into a daydream and then be like, oh, I just was fucking hammering nails into that wall, you know, spending all that energy thinking about it. But then I honestly think it depends on, you know, what spaces you can acquire and then what comes of that space. What do you foresee for that space, which is really cool to think about. So is it in like a back alley cool spot with a container, you know, which I love those kind of concepts and kind of going outside of brick and mortar in a sense where you're renting from this is a good shift. Renting from like a typical landlord and all that kind of lease and everything like that. To, you know, if it's more outdoors or whatever. One of the only most distinct daydreams that I recall in terms of like having a cafe was actually something a little more rural. And I'd seen it in sort of this very vivid way, and it was this beautiful place with like 2 stories and a yard space where people were, you know, sitting outside on the patios and things. So going back to it, the space will create it. The one time that I did think of one thing in particular, it was a little more country. You know,
more rural, you were saying.
Yeah, a little more rural, something that had like a home vibe with a yard and everything. So. And the only time I've ever seen something similar to that was actually when I was in Nashville, and I also cruised through Nashville. I saw something sort of similar to that. It's something. I had that vision, so who knows if it'll really come true. Sometimes I've thought things so specifically that they have come true. So that would be cool in terms of having something of like a retirement kind of environment to work in, you know.
Well, okay, that you said something that really just triggered a thought for me. Was that you were like, hopefully it gets there, but you know, everything you've been thinking about has come to fruition. I mean, I was having this conversation with my friend Quantal the other day, and we talked about, you know, just keep going. You just have to keep going. There's going to be down times. There's going to be shitty times. There's going to be the best times. Mm-hmm. But you, at the end of the day, even after the good times are over, you still have to keep going. After the bad times are over, you have to keep going. You just have to go. You have to go. You have to go. Now, as a business owner, you've obviously seen that you can do it. You can do it. You can honestly do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
Has that translated to your normal train of thought to where everything that you do now, you can do it?
No, I'm still a human being. And
okay.
I think that, you know, I've started a tiny business and took that leap, and it was fun to go through it and be like, all right, that wasn't that bad. You know what I mean? Because I had to do it. I decided I was going to do it. There was no turning back, you know? And I'm the type of person that if I got a deadline or if things have to be done, I'm pretty disciplined to get things done. Give me 3 days to get something done. I might nap the first 2 days and then get it done on the third day. But, you know, I can do it.
You work better under pressure?
Sort of.
Okay.
I guess I like downtime, which I don't really have anymore. But it's kind of like I agree with that statement, though, that you just got to get up and keep doing things, right? Yep. But I always think that people will have certain doubts. But hopefully, you know, you can be a ninja and you can slay through that shit real quick and just realize that doubts are just getting in the way, you know. And again, like thinking about things capture our imagination, I think, that pull us away from being a more direct thinker even with ourselves, right? So you got to just keep going through things. Even with a cafe or a business, what's fun now is I think before I had a business and years overthinking about if I'm ever going to start a business, you always like, oh my God, what if it doesn't work? What if I fail?
Yep.
What if this business fails? This is the one of the ultimate, like, I'm putting this out there and it didn't work kind of things, right? And people get very hesitant about that now, and probably always, because you're taking a risk. One of the coolest things about opening the cart and taking it over was so many people, and again, these are probably more of those right-wing people, the business-sided people, right? Not necessarily right-wing, but like more conservative people in terms of taxes and business and entrepreneurship. And they get really excited about people when they start a business. I had so many customers that said, I'd say, oh yeah, yeah, this is my business now. And they said, congratulations. It was like I graduated from college or I had a baby. Or, it really struck me that to a lot of people, it is like they recognize that there's that risk, but they also applaud sort of entrepreneurship, which is very
you're
American.
taking on
it's great American spirit,
Bro, you're taking a risk.
Yeah, totally.
And you're out there. You know what I mean? I know what you're talking about.
But at the same time, right? Like I was tired of working for somebody else, and I'd always felt like I can do whatever my boss was doing. I've always felt that about every job I've ever had. Even the greatest bosses were the best models to prove that to me. And again, some of them we've worked with together, where you work with people that you just see them and they get up and they get through it every day, whether they're sick, whether they're tired, they have a project that's bigger than themselves.
Yeah.
And that's pretty cool. It kind of takes over. So, getting back to that point of, life is the same way. You got to keep getting through it. It's like if you go through a death or something in the family or somebody close to you, that can put people down for sure. You pray that it doesn't change their life, that they're going to be able to like get through it. Or whatever happens to you in life,
I have to agree on that, dude. I mean,
and when you have to, I think more people do, but they don't believe it until they have to,
I mean, yeah. But at the same time, I mean, it's I've become really good at compartmentalizing, which is apparently not a very good thing. But I mean, dude, I think about it and I don't think it's a bad thing, because there's some things like, dude, I have so many things going right now. So many like projects and gears moving and so many moving parts that it's almost weird. It's like if I'm actually going through some shit, I have to have kind of like a time schedule. Okay, I can bitch and moan or cry about it until this time. And as soon as this time is done at, 6:15, I have to start this and I have to switch my mind.
Yeah.
Everything else gone. How are you normally?
Yeah.
Let it go.
Yeah, right.
And then I was like, it's like, I'll deal with it fucking later. That's it. And then sometimes I just will stay in that state to where I feel like, oh, yo, I'm good. And then that shit I was dealing with that I didn't deal with creeps back in. And then it's like, fuck.
Yeah, okay. Here it is. Time to deal with it.
Time
again.
to deal with it.
Yeah.
And then it's like, boom, maybe 10 minutes. And it's okay, stop. Boom, cut it off. It's very interesting. But I'd use that same mentality of like keeping going by just that right there. Just like, dude,
totally.
You can cry about it and feel bad about it. Eventually it will stop.
Totally.
However long it takes. But then the bigger goal is like, you have to keep going.
Right.
The world ain't going to stop spinning.
Right. And I recall for a time, we had talked about meditation before and in your practices and meditation in my practices. And I think that enables you. I love that practice in terms of like it's good in terms of helping people realize that thoughts can just stream,
Oh yeah.
And we can cry and bitch and play whatever we want, any kind of fiddle. And then we can choose that, or we can kind of realize, like you said, like you can time yourself, you get a sand timer and be like, cool, I'm gonna bitch about this for 10 minutes and then it's done. You know, give yourself that time, which I think is a pretty cool thing. And then it's all about kind of deciding what you want to think about, and having that power to be like, this thought's consuming me right now. I'm going to somehow get through that and put it over here for now, and I'll deal with it later, because sometimes we got to think things through for sure.
Dude, sometimes this might sound super weird, but I imagine issues that I have like a shelf, like that shelf right there. I literally... if this makes sense, I'm so sorry if this doesn't make sense, but okay, so I can feel like I could see like the back of my head, and like the back left side of my dome is like the shelves. And sometimes I can just put shit up there on the shelf and like I know it's there.
Yeah.
Or sometimes I just completely forget about it and it's fine. But then if the issue is like on my mind and I can't not think about it, but I have to be focused on something else, I feel like it's a jar that has like a little goblin in it and it's like trying to bust out and it's just like, hey, you know, you got to deal with this fucking thing.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
Like, oh.
Yeah, and I think, you know, when people don't deal with stuff, that's when they lose presence and, you know.
How do you keep, you know, with a new business and not having any downtime, how do you keep sane? What do you do? Like exercise? Do you like to relieve stress?
Yeah, these days I really, you know, it's unlucky, you know, my beautiful girlfriend Kat, she helps me relax at night. We just kind of chill, man. We got a beautiful place and that we're lucky enough to have, and we can just unwind. I'm the coffee guy, she's the wine lady, and she's the wine taster, you know, and everything. So
is she a sommelier?
No, but she's training to get a master's in wine. So she's taking exams and she's in courses and everything. So
shit.
You know, tastings in, man. You got to taste everything.
Dude, I've honestly thought about that.
Yeah.
Just doing it.
Yeah, it's really hard. But we'll have you over because she's always opening bottles for tasting and stuff.
Wow, dude, let me know.
This is the sparkling module. Dude,
I got a really good bottle of wine from Marco Maistoso. Shout out the homie. He owns Maistoso over in Hillcrest. It's an Italian restaurant. And he brought over a wine that his father grew because he's from Italy.
Oh, awesome.
He's from Rome specifically. But he brought over his father's wine.
Awesome.
Like, it's very, very good. Dude, talk about wine. If you want to take, what was your girlfriend's name?
Kat.
If you want to take Kat over to his spot, do some wine there. Dude, he has a white grape Merlot. It's next level. It's so good.
Nice.
It's so good. And it's white. It's a white wine. Yeah. And then he also, I mean, even when he was on the show, we were talking about how the different types of wine and, I mean, I'm probably getting this super wrong, but like why it's not yellow or something like that. Because it's yellow wine. Because all white wine is actually yellow. So it got this whole conversation about wine. Your girlfriend, Kat, would probably actually like listening to his episode because he got deep into wine.
Nice.
Deep into some other stuff, but it's all food and like tasting and passion.
Wine skins and everything. Yeah.
It's amazing, bro. I love it. I mean, doing this show and also just having the coffee background, it's introduced me to so many other chefs and restaurateurs and wine tasting people who have developed palates, but for different things. But I mean, if you have a developed palate, you could still taste extremely well for all other things that, you know, are up to that level, I guess you could say.
Right.
But, you know, talking to Marco about wine, that's like, yo, that was tight. Yeah, I really, really liked it. What's the best wine that you get to taste with your girl?
I have a few favorites. Obviously, Portuguese wine is very dear to my heart. I like a Vinho Verde that she has introduced to me called Aveleda, which is super light and crisp and a good summertime or warm weather wine.
All right.
So we enjoy that from time to time. I also have been introduced, thanks to her and her interest in what she does, to a ton of Sicilian wines. So she, in particular, she sells a lot of Italian wine. So, so I really have grown fond of like lava stone kind of.
Lava stone.
Yeah, like red wines with a lot of minerality. You know, they're grown in volcanic soils, and they have less fruit and a little bit more, to me, a little more like salty, and you can like taste like the stone in it, you know.
Wow.
Yeah. Some of them even almost taste even smoky too, and you're like, is this fucking in my head or what's going on here? You know?
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about volcanoes while I'm drinking wine.
Dude, well, that makes sense. I mean, that's where coffee's grown.
Totally.
Volcanic soil.
Yeah, and it's super rich soil and nutrient-rich stuff. But I really like that stuff. That's kind of away from more of like the fruitier things. I kind of like finding like light reds, like California Pinots, like Central Coast stuff is super fun. Or Willamette Valley stuff in Oregon I really like. We drink a really fun Austrian grape that's grown in western New York. That's a really fun,
Whoa.
like light summer drink too, you know?
Okay.
Yeah. So we're all
Damn,
over.
you got
Yeah.
hella wine. Dude, yeah, I
Yeah.
definitely want to come over to your house. Dude, let me know.
Oh yeah, Kat's awesome, and she's got the most incredible palate when it comes to that stuff
Yeah?
too. Yeah, oh,
So
yeah.
does when she can she taste coffee?
Coffee, she's learning.
Okay.
Yeah, I think coffee has been a little bit different for her, but you know, now that she's had you know the fine stuff of coffee, she's really enjoying and appreciating it, which is cool.
Mhm. Now, do you, as a coffee shop owner, you consider yourself a specialty coffee cart, right? Like you would say?
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
So do you also, as you're a one-man show, do you also take on trying to educate yourself to what's up to date in the specialty coffee industry
Well,
or standards?
Yeah, that's a good question. I have when we were traveling, I came across this really great magazine. So like right now, I don't have like a ton of time to really get into all of that. And you know, I consider myself in terms of a barista more of you know the art-sided person as opposed to like the scientist back there.
Yeah, like a TDS meter with
Yeah,
water
you know,
and all that stuff.
I feel like I'm more of somebody that can, you know, work a machine beautifully.
Yeah, yeah.
And have fun and also be precise, but less of like the science minded side of it. So I enjoy reading about coffee shops and the history of coffee and culture
Sick.
around coffee in particular. When we were in Porto, we went to this great coffee shop called Combi, and they had this rad coffee magazine, a periodical on their counter, and they had a few editions. We got to read through them. So I read that now. It's called Stand Art magazine, and I believe it comes out of Moscow.
Moscow.
So it's a lot of like what's going on in European cafes, but they also just did a highlight, I think, in Austin, Texas. So they'll do like cafes in Austin.
So it's an international.
Totally international.
Sick.
Fun coffee light reading magazine. But that I find a lot interesting in there. It's just like cool artwork and photography. It's kind of, you know, it smells more like an art magazine than like a...
It smells? Did you say it
Yeah,
smells?
it has very nice paper. It's like good library stuff, you know. You're like,
Okay.
oh yes, it's a really beautiful magazine. So I really that right now is kind of all I have the time to read up on, because mostly I'm working, I'm still teaching.
Yeah. So let's touch on a little bit on that, because I mean, in case you guys haven't heard about my man Drew right here, but
Check out the other episode.
Yep, episode. I want to say you were like episode 8.
Download it.
Yep. But we talked about you teaching a lot in that one, but just give a little refresher for people who don't know you.
Well, right now I teach an online class that is a community college course in Boston that helps students. It's an advising role where I try to help people figure out what they want to do with their life.
Sick.
Yeah. Essentially, it's a career life planning class. But as we talked about a lot last time, all the assignments are done in poetry and hip hop writing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you have to figure out what to do with your life, but you also have to rhyme about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you get some mean instrumentals? People just like spoken word, or
Oh
is
yeah,
it...
totally. Yeah, I have really great writers, you know, and a
Dude.
lot of them are 18-year-old kids that grew up in Boston and around Boston or around the world. I get a lot of students that are international too. So
Do you ever get dudes who just like can bust a rap? Like, yo, I'm going to do it this fast. Check it out. This is my craft. You know,
totally.
like, stuff
Yeah,
like that.
usually the dudes are all right and the ladies are much better. So overall,
Really?
a lot of the guys can they talk a lot of game about being rappers and everything. But the ladies, I got to give it to the ladies in terms of you know, the highest quality writing and flow too. I'll give it to them.
Damn.
Yeah.
Do you remember? Have you memorized any of your students' raps?
No, I've taught this class for like 7 years now, but I definitely catalog all my favorites. So
Damn.
yeah, so I
That's
still have
sick,
I have
though.
like giant lists of different topics that where people have students of mine have totally blown my mind. You know, when you read when I read
yes.
their work and I'm like, holy shit, that was brilliant. You know,
It's
and
like, we need to record this. You need to jump on the mic real quick. You know what I'm saying? They'll get me in the booth. Turn up my bass.
Yeah. So right now, as it is, it's nice at the cafe if I've got any downtime. Like today, I was grading, you know, and trying to get my lunch in, you know, and sitting there at the bar at the cart and enjoying the tree and the quietness of, you know, the coast there, and being able to get a little bit of work done before I go home and, you know, have to wrap things up.
Dude, I hope you don't take this in a weird way, but I'm like, just like, as you're telling me this, like, dude, you're a deep dude. It's like you're running your own business, you're doing this coffee cart, and then at the same time, you're like, oh, I'm just gonna go chill over here and like kind of take a second, but then I'm also gonna grade these papers and like read these things, and it's, bro, yeah, you definitely know how to keep going.
You have to, and
Dude.
I feel like, you know, in the last few years, it's like I've had some great opportunities, and I'm just gonna jump on them now. You know, I feel I'm at that age where I'll be 40 next month, so I've got no reservations anymore.
No reservations, son. Big 4-0.
I ain't got time to like, you know, say no anymore to things or hesitate. You know, so I've been lucky to just, you know, have that kind of energy. You know, I try to stay fit, and I love surfing and like having fun on the side and keeping those kind of things. Like, you know, I still like to have a couple drinks and enjoy time with my friends and stuff on the beach. It's just kind of now it's a little bit more condensed to, you know.
GXO, I got an hour. I can stay here from like 1 to 2
like
o'clock.
That. Yeah. and we're lucky too. You know, we live near the beach, so we can spend our time there, and we pay for that, you know.
Yeah, of course.
We also pay for that, but it's good. That's how I can kind of stay mellow and try to stay balanced. There's things that that are on that back shelf. I can't get to them right now, but you know, they're there. But I feel like right now I don't really have the choice. I feel like I worked in my youth, and I worked tons of different jobs and took a lot of different directions, started projects, helped things, moved on, got bored, moved on. And now it's kind of like getting to this point where the projects are becoming more and more of what are aligned with what I really want to do, you know, in terms of just like taking on a job because I could get that job and then doing the best I could with it. Now it's kind of like I can start to create that job I want by going for it, you know? So I can't teach, you know, a career life planning hip hop class without actually trying to go for it.
Well, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, but that kind of leads me back to one question I wanted to ask you is that, you know, when I started in coffee, I definitely was working in the action sports, and then also I went into cafes, but I was doing different types of cafes, like acai berry and stuff like that. But I made the move into coffee from having like a corporate job and doing these things, and I remember you would be a regular at the shop.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they're like, yeah, we hired Drew. I was like, Drew? I was like, I thought he was a teacher. And they were like, yeah. But for me, it's very interesting, especially now that you own your own shop and you're doing these things. You didn't let like a challenge keep you down. You didn't let it stop you. You were like, yo, I'm going to start at the bottom just like everybody else. And I've told this to people so many times. I mean, dude, I went from that to making what is it, 1050, 1250 washing dishes as
at Zumbar.
At third. You're not even a third person. You're the back of store. You did the same thing. You kind of had the same. We kind of had the same start wise.
Yeah.
You know, what was that like for you?
To me, it was great. You know, I'd had a job for a while when I first moved here, working in the special needs field, and it was something that I loved doing in the beginning, but then to me personally, it started to shift more into like a corporate kind of job. Yeah. And I started to kind of not feel as connected to it, but it was, you know, making like a salary, right? I had salary, I had health insurance and nice benefits, and then I was still teaching and doing that too. And then when it was time to, you know, kind of part ways with that other job, my initial instinct was, oh shit, I got to pay rent. But my second one was, you know what, I might as well do what I've been dying to do for the last 10 years, which is work in coffee. So years ago, I remember as a regular at Zumbar, and Steve was up in Cardiff one day, and I said, man, just kind of like talking with him and everything. And I was like, man, someday, you know, whatever, I'd really like to learn how to pull shots. And he said, well, you know, in that case, you'd have to learn how to wash dishes. And I said, dude, I would wash dishes. And then 3 years later, I was washing dishes, you know, and I think you got to be flexible like that. You know, I have a master's degree and I've done certain things, but at the same time, I was like, fuck it. I want to do what I want. And if I can't wash the dishes, then I can't own anything. You know what I mean? I'm a firm believer in that. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I'm a firm believer in if you own something and you want to and be that owner, it goes back to when we were in Portugal, man. We would go to these tiny cafes. There's one wine bar we went to. It had one dude working at it. He had a small room with like 12 tables maybe, and that guy was like taking orders, making food, literally wheeled out a grill into the middle of the restaurant and was cooking a steak for somebody.
Yes.
And I was like, this dude is amazing.
He's a BAMF.
And he must be, you know, in some kind of his element. You know what I mean? Whether it's his passion for wine or hosting or owning a tavern or something.
Yep.
But this dude, if you weren't, how could you do that, right? And if you own something and you run something, I think if you're not really into it, then that is incredibly reflected upon your business.
Oh, yeah.
And your staff and everything like that. It all trickles down. So, you know, it's all about like everybody's kind of working together. I love working in environments where everybody's equal. There's no drama or hierarchy or bullshit like that. And that's hard because most jobs are not structured in that way. But I think if people are able and comfortable to have conversation with each other without sort of the need for hierarchy or even the need for argument or people get nervous, you know. I've been a manager before and managing staff, and I was young and I was nervous, and you come off weird or you come off too harsh or anyway, it's all about directness, you know, and working with people directly. So I think that can eliminate some of sort of like the hierarchies that are formed in more corporate structures.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I've been a manager. I'm a manager now. But it's very interesting is finding, I think for me personally, is finding the balance between, you know, I need to be myself. For me, physically, to like keep going, I have to be myself unapologetically. That being said, the way I am in general towards people is very welcoming, like, but I'm also at the same time, I'm not afraid to tell you to fuck off. Like, that's just the bottom line. Very East Coast in that way. But also at the same time, is finding the balance to be able to be like, no. Like, we can't do that. But then just switch back, be like, hey, you know I'm being serious right now. Don't fuck around. And then go back to being cool.
Right.
You know, I think that's one thing I've definitely had to learn. But also at the same time, it's like, dude, at the end of the day, man, we're all more than the job. Yeah. So let's just like, that's my constant check. You know, it's like, yo, this is still a person that it's like, yo, I know you're mad cool. Outside of work, I fuck with you so hard, but like right here, right now, like we need to be here. Right. I need you to be serious, like kind of thing. You know what I mean? Right. That's finding that balance. Because, dude, especially like for me, it's weird. You know, back in the day, I was always like the homie, like, oh yeah, you're with all your coworkers and you're trying to like hang out and shit. And then there's like the managers who are like kind of cool and they like try to hang out, but they're like, you end up like, nah. Yeah. It's now that I'm older, I'm like that dude. I'm like, that sucks because I still want to fuck with some of the people that I work with because like they're actually really cool. Well, yeah, that's cool. I mean, that's the whole thing for me is working with good people. Yeah. You know, working with good people is really it. And you know, I've been lucky to always kind of work with good people in the last few years. So, where you can be yourself. You know, there's nothing worse than feeling like you can't be yourself anywhere. You know, dude. Whether you got to be quiet at work or you got to kiss ass or something, it doesn't really work. So, dude, yeah, I hate that line. Just got to be yourself. Dude, yeah, just be you. Have you ever heard that song by E40 and Too Short called "Be You"? No, dude, it's an amazing song. You have to write these down. It's one of my favorite hip hop songs of all time. Oh, awesome. Straight up, my cousin, shout out Little Orlando Little Orlandito. But he's like 21 now. But he's still Little Orlando to me. He was having a tough time. I think he went to Illinois Tech or something like that, and he was having like a tough time. And like I was like, yo, bro, listen to this song. This song's fucking tight. Like I don't know if you ever listened to it or not, but I was like, yeah, bro, this song hella helped me out. You know, for me personally, and plus it's E40, so it's like it's from the Bay too, so you know it's lit. But yeah, I don't know. That song definitely is like, your shoes, your hair, your smile. They gonna love you because you so original. You know, like, be you. Yeah. I love it. Nice. Tie it all back in. I mean, for hip hop though, what do you listen to right now? Are you still fucking with some hip hop? Are you like? I'm not listening to a ton of hip hop right now. I'm kind of like going back and listening to a bunch of like
I've been on like a huge Bo Diddley kick for a long time.
Bo Diddley.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, which is
All right.
like some serious old beautiful music, you know, and just like incredibly powerful stuff. That dude is amazing to listen to, and like just so crunchy, and just the
Crunchy.
and like it's like proto surf music, you know, like all the shit that he was doing with effects and everything. And railroad music. It's kind of old railroad music, you know, at heart. And
okay.
And it's, of course it's old like spirituals and you know, slave music starting to put to blues and starting to put to R&B. So there's an incredible amount of soul in it that just cuts right through everything, you know.
Bo Diddley.
I was just talking to Steve about him the other day. Yeah.
Okay.
So I haven't really been listening to a ton of hip hop lately. I don't even know what's out there right now. I've just been so busy.
Dude, I stay with hip hop. When you came in, I was listening to Baby, and dude, I fuck with him so hard. It's kind of ridiculous. But I mean, I'm also been on like a super gnarly R&B tip lately. I mean, I've been talking about this kind of a lot. But yeah, the R&B on the tip. I was in a super like reggaeton.
Nice.
Kick for a hot minute, maybe some cumbias. Fuck it.
Yeah, I like cumbia. I've been listening to a ton of Brazilian music lately.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Dude, the cumbia is where it's at, bro.
Cumbia is fun, yeah.
Cumbia is...
That shit's hypnotic.
Dude, if you get a good cumbia on, like, you throw that on the cafe, bro. We straight up got one of our baristas, shout out Lauda. She came in one time and she's like, when we asked her... I think we asked her, like, yeah, so why did you want to apply here? She's like, I came in one time and you were playing Bad Bunny. And I was like, she's like, I like this place. I was like, yo, that was me. That Bad Bunny, that was me. And she's like, yeah, you like Bad Bunny? And I was like, yeah, dude. I was like, Bad Bunny's where it's at. And then so she came in and she started playing cumbias. And I was like, you know cumbias? She's like, you know cumbias? I was like, dude, what the fuck? I was like, did we just become best friends? Like, dude, she's fucking tight.
Awesome.
But yeah, she'd be playing some sick cumbias sometimes. And then today we played Bad Bunny. But yeah, I mean, I've been getting in these crazy tips. And then I've been getting some like this dude Kyle Dion. It's like super soulful kind of.
Oh, nice. Have you listened to Nick Hakim? I'm really into that.
Nick Hakim?
Nick Hakim, no. Yeah, super awesome.
What is he?
I think his album's called Green Twins. He's just like a soul singer, you know, but it's like kind of like funky and creative and psychedelic.
Yes.
Like all.
I'm into that.
Yeah. Good
Nick
nighttime
Hakim.
music. Yeah.
Is it Hakim?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to look that up.
Really awesome.
Sick.
Yeah. We like that. We listen to that a lot at home. And
dude, definitely listen to Kyle Dion.
Nice.
I'll send you. Do you have Spotify?
Yeah.
I'll send you a link to his. Dude, seriously super good. It's like, I want to go down. Like, just like, it's super soulful. And then it gets like crazy funky sometimes. Dude, a lot of funk. I've listened to a lot of funk.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's all, when I listen to it, I just think of R&B and hip hop.
Yeah.
It's so interlinked.
Right.
You know?
And for me, a lot of the hip hop that I liked, you know, growing up and still it's all like R&B and funk and jazz. Yep. You know, all the beats come from all of that stuff. So sometimes I just dig further a little into history. I can't even think of anything modern I listen to that often, you know. New Babe Rainbow is pretty awesome.
What? What was that?
A band called the Babe Rainbow. They're pretty awesome.
The Babe Rainbow?
Yeah. We're going to go see them down at the Casbah. I've seen them a few times now, too. They're fun.
Dude, I'm going to go see this.
Surfy.
Wait, what kind of music is it?
It's like Australian hipster surf music.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dude, what are you listening to these days?
It's whatever the kids are into, man. I'm just trying to hang on.
Dude, I've been listening to this girl, Ravina. She's Shanti. She's like she has so much soul, bro. It's insane.
Awesome.
She's like 25 or something like that, and she just got these songs that are just like so deep funk R&B and just like, damn, she can sing. So I bought tickets to go see her. I think next Wednesday.
Oh, fun.
And I'm like solo miss it. Like, I got 2 tickets, but Leslie's like, I'm not gonna be able to go. I'm gonna be in Nashville. I'm like, all right.
Like, somebody will go.
Yeah, I was
the
like,
10th caller wins a free ticket.
Dude, yeah. You want to go to Ravina with me? Holla at me.
That's right. 11. We'll go 11th caller.
Slide in the DM. Just let me know. I'll pick a winner. Caffeine and Green Instagram. Or Isaguchi thing. But yeah, dude, I can't wait to see her.
Yeah.
I just want to hear her sing in real life because I've been watching her Instagram.
Yeah.
She doesn't sing over her her tracks like a fucking rapper. She's singing.
Yeah.
She sounds just as good in real life as she does on the CD or
Yeah.
or not CD, but like on the compressed song on Spotify.
Yeah.
It's like, damn, son.
Right. Fill the room.
I feel like when you see somebody like that who could sing like that with that heart, it'll give you like chills.
Oh yeah.
You know,
yeah,
in real life. Ooh, God damn. Holla at me. You know, but yeah, man. Well, dude, I think we should just wrap it up.
Sounds good, man.
Dude, fucking
I think
A.
we've covered a lot of bases.
Dude, we have, and I'm so glad you came through. Tell the people where they can find you, physically and Instagram.
Yeah, technically you can come to the cart. It's in the little seaside village of Del Mar, which not a lot of people know about. But it's a beautiful spot. It's right on the Coast Highway. If you just stop at the library on the corner of 13th and Coast Highway.
All right. That's where you go find my man Drew. And tell the people again what it's called.
Little Joy.
All right. And is that the Instagram as well?
Little Joy Del Mar.
At Little Joy Del Mar.
Check it out.
Or my boy Drew Jeglinski. It's all one word. That's his name. Wear it out.
Come to the beach.
Yes, Drew. Thank you for coming through again, my friend, and it won't be the last time.
My pleasure, Kano.
Yeah. Peace.
Peace.